What's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is another chance. It's a chance encounter.
Hey, what's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg. I'm a commercial real estate guy. I'm from the internet. In front of a house that's going to be torn down soon. I understand that there are power lines that are getting kind of close. What's up again? This is Dan Fredenberg, and that there is we're seeing more properties like this being built. Let's do some stuff. Talk to you later. Bye.
And that's the intro. Was that intense or what? I don't even know about that. That was total fluff. I apologize for that. It was too much. It was way too much. But what can you do? All right. So, Joanne Santiago, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Dan?
I can't really complain. What'd you think of the intro? Was it too much fluff, too over the top?
Well, I guess it depends on the point you're trying to make.
Right,
Not too bad.
right. Yeah. That was more like a rock and roll thing and a demonstration on what you can do in a minute without actually having any real content at all. It's like, hey, there's a building. Hey, here's some stuff. It's I don't know. Yeah, it was just something to
Great
throw
production
together.
value, though. Great production value.
Right. Yeah, there you go. So we met through a multifamily meetup, and one thing we usually do is we have a little intro. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Joanne?
Sure. So I live in Austin, Texas, so I'm in the big Texas area. I have an IT background. I've been in IT for 22 years, and IT continues to be my day job. Back in 2019, I decided I wanted to begin to diversify some of my um, passive income opportunities. So I do invest in the stock market through 401k and trying to just pick low cost index funds. But I decided I also wanted to diversify and get into real estate. I have always been intrigued of the fact that you can have somebody else help you achieve equity, and at the same time you provide them a place to live that's safe and comfortable. So I started looking into single family, but quickly realized that multifamily was where the scalability actually helped you out, and you were able to hopefully have better returns. So I started in multifamily. I've invested passively in some apartment syndication deals, and now I'm looking to become a full-time syndicator.
I have a die here, and
Okay.
we'll edit that part out in a bit.
Okay.
And the purpose of the die is to simplify the conversation about investment and the different roles that everybody has. So I'm going to go through that super duper quickly so we can find out where you fit, and then for the audience, you'll be able to learn from this in how to have a nice conversation with people. So a repositioner, first of all, a repositioner is the person who is also in acquisitions in general. So they're looking at different properties and they're saying, which property should we add to the portfolio that we can make some money off of it. So that's who a repositioner is. And one of the best ways, me personally as a repositioner, because I'm from the internet, I need to rely on a whole bunch of other people. So one of the best ways to make sure that you're making a good profit as a repositioner is to do value add by getting a contractor, getting somebody to fix the place up, and then that way you can charge more for the rent. Okay, so if you're the repositioner, you got your contractor, and you're also from the internet like me, you're also going to need an operations person. I'm going to switch my screen over to this one. You're going to need an operations person. Okay. So you can tell that that's for fixing the drains and also collecting rent and making sure there's maintenance. And also there's got to be somebody in a multifamily deal who can actually hire the operations person. But if you're the repositioner, you got your contractor and you got your operations person, the main thing is you can't be flying down there. So you need to have somebody else. You need to have a local, someone who can drop in at any given time, see how the property's doing, see how the operators are operating, see how the progress is doing with the contractor and whatever. So then once you've got all the paperwork, the person's going to go for it. You go to the financier, you go to the bank, and you say, all right, give me a bunch of money and we're going to buy this whole apartment complex. Now, what beginners don't know about is that the financier is going to turn around and say, okay, but who's your sponsor? Who's your KP? Who's the key partner? And that's a person who already owns a similar asset. You cannot get a loan from the financier, from the bank, unless you have somebody who already owns a similar asset. But if you have all of those, then you can buy an apartment complex. I've conflated a couple parts, but where do you see yourself leaning in this model of an apartment deal? You know, like, are you like 20% one and 80% another, or where exactly do you fit in?
I personally, in terms of the multifamily syndication business, I am trying to bring value to teams. So if I can help in acquisitions, if I can help in being kind of that local boots on the ground, I am in a high demand market, which is Austin, and I don't live far from Dallas or Houston or San Antonio, so it's not a big deal to just get in a car and go travel.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I look for where I can bring value. Again, if it's maybe I come across a deal, then I can help with acquisitions in that aspect. Again, boots on the ground, underwriting, capital raise, which is something that's one of my goals to improve on, so that I can bring value to a team from a sponsorship and capital raise perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it sounds like part of it is an operations side because of your IT background, right? Like, do you have to build like standard operating procedures and things like that in your IT?
So I'm in the quality assurance side of in IT. So in terms of what we do is basically just trying to make sure that a product goes out into, you know, released with high quality. So you do kind of have to have these procedures of, okay, what do we need to make sure is working before we can say, okay, this is ready to get pushed out live. And so I would say, yes, there are to a degree. And just really kind of these checks and balances of, okay, these are things that we need to make sure are fixed. These are the critical pieces. These are things that might still, for example, need additional fixes, right? This IT is no longer the let's develop everything for a year, then release it, and by the time you release it, it no longer satisfies what the customer wants, right? It has moved to the agile process, which is just continuous improvement. So very similar in multifamily, right? You just kind of have to continuously be improving your underwriting, your operations, managing the asset. So just, it falls in line with that same type of planning and operating.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's a lot of attention to detail necessary in that, and I wrote a book about that, figured out the attention to detail handbook. But there's actually also a joke. I don't know if you've ever heard it before about the quality assurance representative, manager, whatever. Have you ever heard any jokes
No, I
on?
haven't. Enlighten
Okay.
me.
Okay, so the quality assurance representative walks into a bar and orders a drink. Then they order 10 drinks. Then they order 1,000 drinks. Then they order 0 drinks. Then they order -2 drinks. And then they order I am a pineapple drinks. No, not really.
No, no.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's how you do quality assurance as far as like debugging in a piece of software. Is you just try
Exactly.
and do whatever is not anticipated, but it's still
Exactly.
part of it anyway. So, well, so
Mhm.
yeah, one of the things I'm working on right now, and I find when I'm code GPing, when it comes to helping with digital operations and whatnot, the real question is that unless it's your deal, I don't like most of the gurus right now. They don't have like a cookie cutter, breakdown of okay, the acquisitions person gets this percent. They have that, and then the people who supply the funding, they get this percent and whatnot, but they don't really have a piece for marketing so much as like operations. Usually they just try and contract it out. Is that something, is that where you stand right now, is you're just relying on getting your own deals and helping people partner on those, or are you having much success getting people to get you in the fold on their deals with the services that you're looking to contribute?
Um, well, I have tried to bring value right by, seeing if there's deals that I can find. At this point, it's really about just building up relationships. I was really heavy into just looking for my own deals. I do want to also pivot and look at engaging experienced sponsors and providing them with, okay, I can also help in this. I'm currently working on, a project where I am trying to do that, even though I am kind of presenting a possible deal, but, engaging an experienced sponsor and kind of allowing them to be a part of it and really just using it as a vehicle for me to learn and to improve. Again, it's all about continuous improvement. I don't think anybody really feel fully will say that they are 100% expert in everything. Yes, they might be subject matter experts, but there's always something new that might come along to learn from. So I'm really just trying to leverage people that have already gone through that experience. So I do want to try to pivot and reach out to experienced sponsors to provide whatever value I can.
Mhm. That makes lots of sense. All right. So, and for my own part, I guess I'll introduce myself for the audience, and in case you didn't know it sufficiently, my background is also in IT. I worked for Web.com, and they had a software as a service called OneShoppingCart.com. Well, they still have it. But that what people do is they run their online businesses using that as their CRM, and also how they do their marketing. So in other words, if you want to, every business, you have your contacts, and for legal reasons, SEC, you need to keep track of all the conversations you had with somebody. Make sure that you've got a full record of how this person joined you on a deal and whatnot. But the bigger thing is just emailing customers saying, hey, we've got these new offerings, hey, sign up for this, that kind of marketing. And I was helping the different seven-figure businesses integrate their website and build their funnels for them with this service. And so I ended up back in, I think it was 2013 or 2014. I'm trying to remember which one. But I started working for a single family residential firm, and they had their brokerage and they had their coaching wing, and they ended up opening up their fund with 9 figures under management. And so I was helping with that, but then I ended up seeing that in general, like the product that my old boss used to promote, it was called 40K flips, because usually a single family residential flip would be about like 36K, somewhere around there. And because it was so transactional, and my boss had about 10 different houses that he was buying and selling every single month, I knew that that was where there was all the opportunity. But because I was remote based, stuck on the internet, I knew that I'd probably end up coasting if I had a year with like 6 houses flipped or something like that. And I'm not convinced that I'd stick with it like really, really, really long term. So once he started talking to multifamily operators and multifamily investors, and he started to say, it's like, okay, that's what I need to be doing because of X, Y, and Z. I was saying, it's like, well, I need to be doing the same thing as well, because I'm no spring chicken. I'm a little bit older than I look, but that's still a point where it's like, okay, well, we need to make that happen. So that's basically what I've been up to, and I've been making this big marketing machine to basically show how we're going to use IT to level up our portfolio into the billions. And there are a lot of things about scaling that have to be in place before that'll work. So that's where my background is, and that's basically what I'm doing to get my foot in the door in these different deals. So I'll ask you before I answer the question myself, but who's out there, like what can you describe about people who would be the perfect person for you to help? Like who can you help more than anybody else in a multifamily deal?
I guess there's two ways. If there's somebody that, excuse me, is in the Austin area or, surrounding areas, as boots on the ground, definitely. I am project management certified. And I believe the way, just how I naturally am, I tend to ask the questions, and I tend to try to dig deep and try to think outside the box. I try to also look and not look at just the obvious, but kind of read the data and, ask the questions. I've been in situations where sometimes people don't want to think about what could go wrong because they see it as it's a negative and it doesn't help. But I think sometimes you do have to look at, okay, what are the possibilities of things that could go wrong, so you can be proactive and try to prevent these things. So in that regard, I feel that's a skill set that I bring, just being able to to see beyond what could just, beyond the happy path, right? As a quality assurance person, you cannot just stay on the happy path. You have to have the negative testing. That's where you're most successful, because you're looking at the full picture. You can't just focus on what you need to make something work. You have to think, okay, what are the things that could go wrong, so you can plan accordingly. So I feel that helps give me that edge, the detail oriented, just from my QA background.
That makes a lot of sense.
And, there's always, as I keep saying, I want to be able to, in the space of multifamily, be able to provide value in multiple facets. I know there's people that say, oh, form your group and one person does like the capital raise, one person does the underwriting. I don't have that mindset. My idea is, I think it is good to have strengths in all of those areas, because then you bring more value to your team. If you just have one person doing the underwriting and nobody's really checking, there can be a potential error there that you could help catch, right? Also, you can help catch it sooner rather than later. That's always something that you really want to do. You don't want to mess around with your investors' money. So just definitely, I am trying to strengthen myself in all areas of the syndication process. So capital raise as well, right? That I know that is a really big thing that most people are looking for to help fund the deals. So I'm really trying to get out there, network, meet more people, just provide whatever information, advice that I can, have, really open, candid relationships with people as I meet them, just, be the true me, right? And hopefully that can bring value to them, and they can see, my integrity, how the type of person I am. So just in relationships, in skills, right? So like the asset management, the operations of, I can be there, I can keep track of things. I've managed products to release, while also at the same time managing the testing of it. So, I can multitask, and I can deliver, and I can work with excuse me, work with people. So, as a project management, you have to be able to work with different people across the aisle. You have to make the phone calls. You have to, continuously follow up. I think if you don't follow up, that's one of the biggest failures of any project, be it real estate, in IT, or whatever, is just following up on the things that need to be done. So
Mhm.
hopefully those are skills that, a deal sponsor that has experience can, see and appreciate, and I can bring to the table.
Makes lots of sense. And what's the best way for people to reach out to you? Is it through LinkedIn or?
Um, I think, so I do have probably my email address. It's Joanne it's kind of a long one, Joanne at hearthstoneventuresinc.com. I can also be found on LinkedIn. I know some people have mentioned that they have had some trouble finding me, but I can also be found on LinkedIn. Facebook, I tend to actually prefer LinkedIn and email over that. Just makes it easier to know, people's interest in real estate, and
Mhm.
so yeah, those are the two ways.
Okay, awesome. And just for clarity, that's Hearthstone, like a big hearth and oven, basically,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
fire, an open fire. So Hearthstone Ventures Inc. is
Inc.
the
Yeah. No, it's
company.
hearthstoneventuresinc.com. Yeah, I
Okay,
think
Hearthstone
without the
Ventures.
ink, it'll bring you to some other weird website.
Right, exactly. So it says here that you also went to university in Puerto Rico.
Yes, I did. So again, challenges, adapting to challenges. I'm not, I wasn't born in Puerto Rico. My parents are of Puerto Rican descent. I consider myself Puerto Rican. I eat the food, cook the food, but we moved there when I was in almost 11th grade. So
Okay.
that was definitely a challenge. Had to quickly pick up the Spanish, finished high school and college there, and from college managed to get a job in the IT space here in Austin, Texas, almost 22 years ago.
Wow, that's really awesome. Okay, so I guess the last thing then would be, did you like? I'm curious what all you found out about me before this interview, because there's some really weird stuff with my name on it. So what did you
Well,
end
I
up
did
finding?
not Google you. I did not Google you. So I know what I've seen from Brian's podcast. So you're
Right.
safe.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
You're
All
safe.
right. Well, thank you very much. I don't imagine you have anything else to say or anything to ask me, but if you do have your chance right now.
All right. I guess what is your real estate background?
Yeah, it's from the tech side, and I'm currently helping out in systematizing other people's deals right now. But I've got a sponsor that I'm working with, and with the whole idea being that we're systematizing to increase his portfolio, where I'm an equity partner in some of those deals. So because I'm from the internet, I'm basically pretty agnostic to where to invest. I'm aware of the demographic patterns, the different hot markets, the political landscape all over America, and of course, whenever you're in tech, like if you make a claim like that, it sort of doesn't matter, because you'd have to double check when you actually have a property that you're going for anyway. So I don't want to sound like I'm just going to go, it's like, oh yeah, I know every single zip code in America, because I don't. But basically, this industry is a one where you find sponsors or people who are in a buying mode, and then you find properties that fit their criteria. It's not the typical broker approach, because I'm not a broker. The broker approach is like, whatever you have to sell, then you try and sell it to everybody, and that doesn't really work as well in this situation. You really have to know the investor's buy box and say, it's like, okay, what are you comfortable with? And then you shouldn't vary too much from that buy box. If you do change like one thing, then that's okay. But, if, like, for example, if you're looking for a multifamily deal, you shouldn't be looking, like I shouldn't be offering you working.com businesses, even though, like the numbers are similar, right? You still have your net operating income. You can take any investment and you can assign a cap rate to it based on the returns. But it's a completely different asset class and a different business model, and being able to detect that sustainability is quite difficult. So that's where I am, is making these deals work for existing investors, finding more, and just taking care of the marketing component. And that's just getting me involved with more stuff crossing my desk, and then I just put them with the operators that are best suited for that sort of property.
Yeah, it's a great space to be in.
All right. Well, thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Joanne, for coming today. And that's it. All right. Take care. All right. See ya.